welcome back to part 23 of our little 999 playthrough. Now, we are here at the second area of the door, number 6. We've already seen it, we've already talked about it. We'll just kind of touch on the stuff that happens in here because, again, this is a different timeline, so to speak. But we're going to make a little change of pace for this episode today. So, Mexi, you linked me an article, a very interesting article about the Titanic.
I did. Basically, ever since we started re-recording this, I've kind of kept my ear out for any sort of Titanic-like business, because even though that ship crash was fucking over a decade, or it's almost coming up to its decade.
You mean...
Century. Yeah, it's century. Holy shit.
It's been over a century.
Has it? Yeah.
Yeah. 1912.
Wow, 2012. You're right. Shit. Well, anyways, but they're still finding new shit. Well, especially not so much about the crash itself, but like the ramifications around the crash and like the people and stuff. Because sure, we have what we believe to be accurate historical accounts, but what we didn't account for is that accurate historical accounts when it comes to American history includes a big heaping helping of systemic racism.
There are plenty of massive asterisks in the little educational books that should be there but aren't.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's so seeing a new article, I decided to link it to Evan's. Like, yo, check out this shit about the Titanic. I think it'd be cool. And you took it the next step. You went extra on it. What was my article like? What?
Yeah. Well, see, the article was about, I believe, it was discovered that there were 8 Chinese men, I believe, traveling from Great Britain to America in order to get onto a ship to go to Cuba because, I believe they were working in, what was it? They were employed in Britain, but had been outsourced over to, I believe, Cuba, and they were having a little stop at the U.S., but unfortunately the Titanic happened, and 2 of them passed away. And when the 6 got there in the U.S., after all enduring all of the trauma that came afterward...
Like, you were all there, you all cried, you heard Celine Dion, you know that shit was awful.
Yes, unfortunately their hearts were not able to go on, so to speak, because they couldn't get access into America.
They couldn't come into the United States, dude!
Yeah, because someone had a great idea to make this little law that essentially banned any and all Chinese people coming into America. The Chinese Exclusion Act, which was passed 30 years prior.
Yeah, so, like, there's all these stories surrounding the Titanic that we're just now discovering, where we really don't know what the fuck happened. We really don't truly know anymore. Like, Could there have been a mummy made of a special kind of water that allows her body to be preserved on the Titanic? No, that's fucking dumb. But...
Yeah, my hopes up there.
I know. You know what? Anything's possible. That's the magic of science fiction. That's the magic of multiple timelines, is that there is a timeline where there was. And guess what? It's the 999 timeline, and it's the one God abandoned.
Thank you, God. But I also did a little bit more research into it, mainly the act itself.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's fucked up.
Yeah, it all revolves around, I believe, it all started around the gold rush, which I believe was right after the Civil War. Because the economy was terrible after that, and so people just kind of flocked over to California and the western United States in order to try and find gold and get rich. And there are many Chinese immigrants coming into there in order to get the same opportunity and also to find work as well, due to situations going on in China that I didn't quite research upon, but I can imagine were kind of...
Let's just put it this way. China was dealing with its own little opioid crisis, where the solution was give the addicts more opioid and then they'll essentially they were going to burn the fever of opioid addiction out of the country, and it worked. Right.
Yeah. Thank you, UK, for that as well. So, they're not all to blame for this, but Yeah, so once they had gotten to the U.S., though, over like a period of decades, there was a growing resentment towards them. Essentially, not to be blunt, but kind of sort of the same way that some modern U.S. citizens feel about the so-called illegals.
Let's put it this way.
in.
Xenophobia is nothing new. It's been around forever.
Exactly.
It's still around. It's not going away anytime soon. But let's just say that we all try to be our better angels here. But there is also a sort of irony to it that a man who wouldn't be allowed in the United States off of the Titanic making a game involving the Titanic, involving American characters. Like, it's just kind of weird that we now throw in all this stuff. Like, the Titanic is such a treasure trove of really interesting things, bad and good. I'm not saying that, these men being denied essentially refuge because they were just the victims of a disaster, like a ship sank and all of that. But that, like, the situation, like, there's just so many threads that go to it without even touching all the sci-fi shit. So that's what I think also makes the Titanic such a great setting too, is that we are constantly finding new things out. Like, you can tie any sort of sci-fi mystical bullshit, because you know what? Yeah, probably did. We don't know. We're still finding shit out.
Yeah, and a sinking ship is a good sense, has that good sense of urgency in order to drive any kind of plot that you put into it forward, especially if you only give them 9 hours to live.
Right. Also, here's additional scenes. We're just kind of sweeping up all the cutscenes for you. But this is where Junpei's getting a little suspicious here. Our little thinking boy's using his noodle for things other than bad puns.
Yeah, it turns out that Ace has been getting all of his drugs from this little company called Cradle Pharmaceutical. And why is that? Well, he's a fan. He needs to get his fix somewhere, guys.
Look, the opioid epidemic is a serious problem, tying all of our threads once again all together.
Wow.
I know.
I love this so much.
This is why our thoughts are so deep.
But, yeah, as the text implied earlier, he's the CEO of Cradle Pharmaceutical, which he told Santa for one reason or another. I'm not sure why.
Well, I mean, we already know that Santa has money, that he is an investor, so it could be money related. Like, we could infer that maybe Santa is one of Cradle Pharmaceutical's investors. We don't know. But this also explains a lot of Ace's mannerisms, why he has that air of charge, why he's able to keep calm in a lot of those difficult situations. He's a CEO. He's that, that type, maybe not externally a type A personality, but he's very steadfast. He's a very strong-willed individual. And, you see the other characters kind of relying, or at least Junpei noticing it and kind of reacting to that, like using Ace as like, well, he's so calm in this situation, let's all calm down too. But we all know that's the height. We've already been in other timelines. We already know Ace's shit and stuff. I mean, he's already hiding that he has a condition from us, so.
Yeah. I mean, it's not really that big of a spoiler at this point that he has prosopagnosia, or fuck, however you say it. I haven't said it in weeks, so whatever. Which is why he wasn't able to solve this puzzle that we did earlier regarding faces, human faces, and that's going to become very, very important in the next 2 parts specifically.
So, make notes. That's why we're showing you all this information. We're not I mean, I know I've spoiled plenty in all the previous parts. My bad. But I feel like we're at the point where the game's caught up to our mouths, and we're all just waiting for the climax at this point. We're getting all the information. Everything is being put into some form of context or another. So something's got to happen. I mean, all these dead ends.
Yeah. And in the meantime, we get to do this wonderful little puzzle here again. Woo!
Yay! DJ Roomba, strike 2.
Hell yeah.
All this for cutscenes. I am so glad that we can just jump to. So in the remake menu, what do they use as the icons? Is it like little windows or?
I believe it's the same structure as the flow chart in Virtue's Last Word. It looks very similar to that, at least.
See, that one was nice. I remember I had a little bit of trouble with Zero Time Dilemma's setup, just because like you're given all the boxes at the beginning of all the pictures, and like, what the fuck do I do first? So. And I do like that it gives you the option of the boxes and the flowchart, and you can switch back and forth. And I needed to, actually, because I was so confused. But once you like clear out a few timelines, you start to like get on track with the game. But I remember I was super overwhelmed by how the last game like showed all its timelines. Like, whoa, okay, I knew there was time travel. I knew, but
this is a little too far, guys.
It's like shit.
Not really though, because again, I like that structure. It gave a very big room for interpretation, your own interpretation of how these events are playing out, where they are playing out in these timelines, and what they mean. And
it's sorry, but you also get that the coin flip before. That kind of acts as a really nice tutorial too for how the timeline works, because you get that first answer where you get 2 wrong answers. One answer gives you game over, the other answer gives you the rest of the very sad game. This is funny because I started rewatching Steins Gate because Steins Gate 0 came out, so similar things, just, bunch of people time traveling and everyone ending up sad in the end. So, I know, it's always just a shame when punk kids get access to the time stream. It just seems to end in multiple deaths. It just ends with people's personal trauma all over the walls and everyone just sees it and
Time travel is a very, very troublesome plot element. It can either lead to total confusion and just straight up nonsense, or just very, very, very sad feelings.
Don't time travel if you have personal demons, because it's going to involve you having to spill them all right there in front of all your friends and loved ones. Alright? You're going to have a personal transformation. You're going to feel better after it, but holy shit. Like, any little thing that might be bothering you, like any sort of trauma in your past, settle it before you time travel, because time travel has a weird way of worming those things to the surface. Holy shit.
Yeah, and if you're unable to fix it, remember, you have time travel, so you have plenty of opportunities to do it again.
Yeah, just know that time travel might, and if you're okay, just know that time travel might accidentally reveal some repressed memories, and then refer to the beginning portion of this lesson. In which case, you are not type B person, you are type A. Please refer to that category of the tape.
Yeah, and a little addendum. There are many, 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 many different interpretations of time travel as well. So, which one you're exactly going for, I guess, I mean, it's whatever you feel like at the time. But just a small piece of advice: if you ever meet yourself in while time traveling, don't look at them in the eyes, and if you do, then kill them on spot before they kill you.
Yeah.
Because they're both going to know them, because we just told them.
Hey,
so.
all I know is that if I ever see another me out there, I am stopping what I'm doing and having sex with myself as soon as possible. Like, that's an opportunity you just can't pass by.
I don't feel like having that conversation today.
No.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just it's been discussed to death before, so I'm not gonna touch it.
What, a 10-foot pole?
Or like 6-inch pole.
Oh.
Oh.
So here's a gun again.
It's a gun.
I know, in our murder game. Oh no! What could this possibly mean? What ramifications or consequences will we have to deal with now that someone's brought a gun to our knife fight? Don't bring a gun to a knife ending.
Jeez, that would have been. If Clover had just brought out that gun instead of the axe, honestly, I thought I would think that scene would have a little less impact than it did. Or hell, maybe even more, because that'd be fucking hilarious.
Right? She just like cold blood shot you in cold murder, just bang! Oh!
Caps you in the face, curb stomp you a little bit, and then brings out the axe and chops out your hand.
Like just imagine the scene of Clover walking away at the end of the axe, but it's her hand up and the revolver holster like out of the gun and just the shells falling down. Just the most badass shot of Clover.
Emphasis on shells because she shot Junpei multiple times in the.
Well, she shot all the characters. That's just, come on. It's not a 999 anymore. She used the whole cylinder's worth of bullets to murder as many people, all 6 of them.
I mean, I guess the walls are thick enough that she'd be able to do that, but that seems a little too risky.
I mean, they're high metal.
Metal's not that thick.
I was gonna say it was the cheapest metal money could buy for the Titanic.
100-year-old metal. I'll see you guys on the next part where the story actually gets interesting again. I mean, it's never not been interesting, but you'll see what I mean. Trust me.